Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli. Check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see blogs and tools to help you maximize the starry potentials. So in this video, I'd like to talk about Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde is an event that happens once every 2-ish years. And when it does, it brings along with it lots of implications and lots of do's and don'ts. So I want to give you some information about Mars retrograde and help direct you to the best things to do and the things to avoid and to understand why. And that's what the intention is for this video. So to understand a retrograde planet, we have to more understand what the planet is like when it's direct, what it rules, etc. The energy of a retrograde is kind of like having an off day. So if you've ever had an off day, then you already innately understand what the energy of retrograde is like. It's like you wake up, you fall off the bed, something throws you off, and then from there, the morning is all whacked out. You know, the coffee's cold, you're late for the bus, then everything is just quite not right, and you're cranky and not as productive. So that is what it's like when a planet's retrograde. It's just not in its full power. So when Mars is in retrograde, all of the things that Mars rules get a little bit sleepy, and sort of the things that are Mars department, all the things don't really get done in Mars department, similar to your department with your work or whatever you do every day. If you're a little bit off, you don't really get all the things you need to get done. And that's what it's like when Mars is in retrograde. So Mars rules initiation and action, and it rules assertiveness and aggression and your oomph, the gusto, your life force energy, how you use your energy. So when it's retrograde, all of that oomph, that drive, that forward motion goes backwards and in. Mars also rules metal. So anything that is metal, including, it's kind of in some ways supersedes even the Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrograde rules the communication and transportation type of things. But if you think about it, all of the communication and transportation devices have metal in them. So Mars has some rulership there as well. So things that involve metal could go backwards. You could find things breaking down. Definitely not a time to run with scissors. Even scissors, barbers, getting your hair cut is ruled by Mars, the aspect of the actual cutting. So Mars also rules sexual relationships. So if you're initiating that type of relationship during Mars retrograde, it increases the chance that it's going to lose steam before the end of the transit or by the end of the transit. So it's not indicated to move forward with initiating romantic interactions, meeting someone intentionally for the purpose of dating, becoming engaged, moving in together, getting married, things like that, because the energy of oomph is not forward moving, it's going backwards. So unless you're very content to have a companionship relationship that doesn't have that element to it, which is fine, then that would be fine if that's what you're trying to do. But if you're not trying to do that, then you really need to look out in this period of time. So this around every 2 years, Mars goes retrograde, and it's retrograde for anywhere from about 8 to 10 weeks at a time. But it's not only the 8 to 10 weeks that we have to be concerned about and be educated about. It's the pre-retrograde shadow period and the post-retrograde shadow period that are also relevant here, which makes this entire Mars retrograde transit last like 6 or 7 months. So in order to see what the dates are for the time period you're watching, look to the current horoscopes, because I'm intending this video to stand to assist during all Mars retrogrades. You can also check out on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. I've done a detailed Mars retrograde blog, which will give a lot of the points that I'm sharing through video in a concise place that you can refer back to for ease and remembrance, and also has dates in the near future posted on there, the retrograde actual dates. Okay. So when Mars goes retrograde, there is a tendency to have the keynote energy of frustration occur. And this is because when Mars, which rules moving forward, is moving backwards, and you have all this oomph to move forwards, obstacles come in the way because you're not supposed to be doing that. And that leads to frustration. It can also lead to anger. The two negative sides of Mars are frustration and anger. It rules war. Mars is the god of war. So assertiveness, aggressiveness, anything from the low range to the highest range of actual war, or taking someone to court or declaring war on someone energetically, or whatever different ways that means, that's all ruled by Mars. So there are certain things that it's really important to not do during that time. People who have important placements in Aries and Scorpio in some ways will be more affected by Mars retrograde because Mars rules Aries and it co-rules Scorpio. But I think that there's always the chance, and I've experienced this personally, I have Aries rising, so Mars is a ruler for me, that I'm on 150% full throttle all the time. And when Mars goes in retrograde, it's like I have a license to chill out, and that turns out to be a really good thing if I let it be that way. And that's what we really need to get about this transit, is that if you plan your vacation time for Mars retrograde, which I do, then you're matching the planetary energies with what you're doing. So in the time periods that come before, where there's time to push extra hard, and then when it's time to relax, when things naturally start slowing down, then you don't have to be as frustrated about the delays or anything like that because you're not trying to force anything forward. So a really good point during Mars retrograde transits and the shadow periods are to only do what you absolutely have to do, and to reevaluate what you think you have to do. So really reevaluating how you use your energy in general, to dismantling, taking down the total way that you use your energy. This opportunity can allow you to work even smarter rather than harder. Many people work harder. I remember when I used to work 80 hours a week. It's a lot of time. And now I don't work anywhere near that, but I'm just as productive, if not more so, because of using these transits to really get more efficient with time management and how you use your energy. So that's something that you can really utilize. So although there's the possibility to have anger and frustration that would just naturally unconsciously present during this time, if you're using the energy in the right way, you've got this chance to be comfortably productive. And this is true for Aries and Pluto, but it's true for everybody, every sign, every placement. If you use the energy right, you can be comfortably productive during this time. You just have to tune in to see where the roadblocks are being thrown up, and don't focus on those things, and do a lot of breathing in between. Something else that retrograde transits always bring up is unfinished business. They unearth things that are interfering with our happiness by going back over things that have been patterns in the past. Most people, everybody that I know, is in some way stuck in a matrix of a sort from their imprint that they're trying to break out of. And this is very easily seen in the astrological charts. And you can see it in your life when you see the patterns that are always presenting. Here's that type of person again. Here's that type of situation again. Here's that type of experience again. So when there's a planet that's retrograde, especially a personal planet, it really gives you a chance to finish some unfinished business. And a lot of it's going to center from when Mars is in retrograde, it's going to center around anger and frustration. If there are people that you are angry at, you are not going to live your fullest life. You are not going to be your healthiest, you're not going to have your healthiest experience, and you're not going to be your happiest. When we are holding on to something, not forgiving someone, we are interfering with our own expansion, our own prosperity, our own happiness. So Mars retrograde becomes an amazing time to forgive, and there's many different tools that you can utilize for this. I'll list a couple. The Presence Process by Michael Brown is one of my favorite books, and that process will definitely help you to finish unfinished business. There's also something called the Ho'oponopono. This is a Hawaiian prayer that basically translates as, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And this is a karma blaster. I've seen the energy of this at work, and it is nothing short of phenomenal. Using this prayer, and you can look it up, it's Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono. You can look it up, and you don't have to buy any books or spend any money on using this prayer, although you might feel drawn to, and maybe that will be helpful for you. But you can practice the prayer without having to spend any money, and you can completely change your life. You can help get yourself out of debt, because if you think someone owes you something, someone's going to be tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, you owe me something. Money, time, resources, guilt, shame, blame, all of that. So Mars retrograde is an amazing time to let go of all of that stuff, to basically finish unfinished business. Mars retrograde is an amazing time to have a punching bag, but to not hurt yourself through overexertion by using it. We want you to get out excess physical energy. The energy of Aries, which Mars rules, is very physically active. And so there's actual physicality to this anger. So maybe body work, running, exercising, something like that is helpful, but we don't want to use that also to avoid dealing with the issues. If you have recurrent anger themes, then this could be a time when those really come up, or some people might see them toned down and become more internal rather than external. But in any way, you have a great chance to actually heal something here. So like anger management, definitely psychological assistance, things like that can be of tremendous help. You also don't want to stir any pots, because a lot of people are going to be walking around at the verge and ready to boil over. And one look from you, or one comment, or one traffic move, something like that could set people over the edge. People are going to be on edge. Most people are going to be walking around having no idea what's going on and why they're so pissed off. So just pay attention to that so you can help protect yourself. Even very happy people that are just bright and happy by nature, might find themselves really mad, because behind every happy person very often are a lot of heartaches and frustrations that they are ignoring because of a wonderful outlook. So if you find that you're not usually mad and you are mad, there are things that have to be dealt with. Another really magical way to assist with emotions that come up during this time or any other transit is Bach flower remedies, B-A-C-H flower remedies. You can find them on Amazon, and you can find lots of information on the internet about them. It's amazing. You can use these with kids, to animals, and people of every age, and they're very effective and very safe. They don't have any contraindications that I know of. And the only one thing is that I think they're set in alcohol, so if you have a sensitivity there, you might want to be careful. But it's only 4 drops that you put in water. But in any case, these Bach flower remedies can help to take the edge off of unresolved emotions. So that's another way that you can get some help with Mars retrograde things. So when Mars is in retrograde, it is the worst time to launch new things of any kind, to initiate anything, to initiate a lawsuit, to initiate anything energetically. It's fine to continue being productive with things as the universe lets you that you've already put into motion, but save your big launches for when Mars is not retrograde. I can't tell you how many times in places I've lived where I've seen new businesses open, either when Mercury, Venus, or Mars is in retrograde, and within a very short amount of time that business closed, no matter how wonderful their idea was, or no matter how wonderful everything, their total picture was. They launched their business in stars that were not conducive to launching a business. So just be very careful to avoid those periods of time when you're trying to launch something, and try to get something launched before, or fine-tune it and launch after. Okay, so the review of Mars retrograde is it's a wonderful time to assess, but not a wonderful time to take action. Okay, so you want to figure out things, reassess your goals, your business plans, how you use your energy, your relationships, your issues, what's holding you back, everything. Reassess everything. But taking actual action on things, except if it's by nature, like things we talked about, like getting psychological help, or anger management, or clearing up, doing inner work, basically. You don't want to take a lot of action on things outside of yourself. You want to take positive action on things inside of yourself. Those are things that it's fine to take action on. But as far as like making a decision with something about something in your life, it's not the best time. Okay, so you want to review your goals and relax. If you can plan your busy times before and after the Mars retrograde, you're going to use your energy in the most wise and efficient way. And then when you're relaxing, you can really relax, because wow, it's not really a time for me to doing anything now. So I can really relax and rejuvenate. And then when it's time to push again, then you'll have that energy all stored up. It's also time to exercise more and get a punching bag. Frustrations will likely run high. So you want to get that out in as healthy and productive a way as possible. Mars also rules the head, so you want to protect your head as much as possible. And if you've had neurological symptoms of any kind or vision symptoms, anything that could be related to things housed inside your head, then you want to get those things checked out. There might be something that you have to find, and the retrograde is making symptoms worsen because you need to check those things out. Also, Scorpio rules the genitals, and since Mars is a co-ruler of Scorpio, anything related to your genitals or reproduction, if you've got something going on there, again, the symptoms may come up. Or you might have something housed in one of those places and then have symptoms that don't seem like they're related. So if you have anything going on, it's a good time to research and investigate. That is something that Mars retrograde is really good for. The most important thing to do is to listen to your body. If there's something going on, you've got to work with that. You know, your body will tell you if you have issues that are unresolved. Your body will tell you where you have issues that are unresolved. They'll come in the form of symptoms. They'll come in the form of sensations. There's a wonderful book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And with this book, it helps you to locate and clear out issues that are stored in your physical body that are stopping you from having the life that you want. If you also are just expecting a slowdown, then when it comes, you won't be frustrated. And avoid elective surgeries. If you can avoid doing anything voluntary with metal, that would be great. And since all surgeries, they always involve metal. So if you can avoid a surgery, if it's not medically necessary, I've had people write to me before when I've talked about avoiding surgeries at certain points and say that it's life or death, and if it's life or death, you've got to move forward. Or if it's on the edge there and it's really time sensitive, that's not really elective. That's necessary, and that you got to do that. But if you have any say in it, and certainly if it's anything cosmetic, you definitely want to avoid the Mars retrograde time. If you want a written version of this, it's not a transcript, but it is a summary of this video and the points that I'm sharing. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and click on blog and search for Mars, and you will find my Mars retrograde blog on this topic. And it will have the summaries there that we just talked about of the things to avoid and the things that it's good to do. And also lots of self-help tools on my website if you are using the great advice of doing inner work during this time. So I hope that this has been helpful, and take good care. Bye.